Hey guys, it's Wizard. It's been almost a year since my last YouTube video. For pretty much all of 2025, I've been buried finishing a book about one big question. How do you actually get better at any video game? The book is actually coming out soon, but before I publish it, I had one nagging thought. Okay, I know these ideas work for my students, but do they still work on me, a washed coach who barely plays anymore? I've seen these concepts work for a lot of players already. Just this year alone, my students went from silver to grandmaster and masters to champion. So I decided to turn it into a simple experiment. Boot up Overwatch again after a long break, queue tank, and play while only focusing on one concept, the chill pill. And here's the result. I got placed in Diamond and went from Diamond to Grandmaster in just 8 days. So in this video, I'm gonna break down what chill pill actually is and how you can use it to climb. But first, let me be really honest here. When I first started playing again, I was in full blame mode. I was in diamond lobbies watching my teammates play super passive even when we have advantage, waste ultimate for no reason when we're already up 3. And I was getting really tilted. In my head, it sounded like, why are they so scared and passive? Why are they wasting ults here? If my team played just properly, these games will be so free. And most importantly, how the f am I the same rank as these guys? Because in my head, I was the guy who was top 500 multiple seasons and even peaked around top 30 back in the day. I was sitting in that familiar swamp of blaming my team. Looking back, obviously a big part of it was just my ego. Maybe I didn't want to admit to myself that I've gotten this bad. So, in frustration, I called some pro players I know and asked them to watch me live. And all 3 of them said the same thing. Wiz, your resource management is awful. Your HP, your cooldown, your distancing, your cover, you're just dumping everything for no reason. And the funny part is, these are the exact basics I've been teaching my students for years. And yet, when I looked at my own gameplay, I realized I wasn't doing any of it. So from that moment on, I made a decision. Okay, for this experiment, I'm going to only focus on one concept only. Managing and stacking resources before the fight so I can finally use it when the opportunity arrives. The one idea I call taking the chill pill. So what exactly is chill pill? Look at this clip from 2 weeks ago before I took the chill pill. As you can see, as soon as the game starts, I'm using my bubble, using all my resources, and yet I'm not keeping more distance, I'm not getting into the safety, and I use another bubble on the soldier who actually didn't even need the bubble. And I take the 1v1 against the Baptiste, and Baptiste had a better resources with the immortality field. So I was absolutely bankrupt on my resources and I lose the fight. I had this ego in my head thinking, I used to be top 50, I can beam them down with high energy and I can just carry them. But the reality, I was just feeding and I was just donating my resources. I essentially became a yellow philanthropist. So basically, most gamers are busy shooting themselves in the foot, just like myself in this footage. It's not the enemy, it's not your teammate, it's us. And here are 3 major problems if you keep playing like this. Problem number 1, you die because you are bankrupt on resources. It's obvious. If you play like this, you die. I'm wasting my resources when I just need to chill out. If you're the guy who's just always dying first or always getting caught out, you aren't getting outplayed by the opponent, you are probably just sabotaging yourself. You need the chill pill to just survive and start actually playing the game. Problem number 2, you can't afford the kill. Remember, every kill carries a price tag. If that Baptiste didn't have immortality field, or if he was maybe lower than 50 HP, he wouldn't have been able to kill me there because he wouldn't have enough resources to kill me. So if you save enough money, in this case your resources, you can use it to buy kills or you can use it to help the mid fight, which I call the spike. So if you actually want to kill someone, you need to have enough resources to punish them. The thing is, enemy team is making so many mistakes. In my experience playing in Diamond to Grandmaster, everyone is making so many mistakes. I was missing out so many free kills that was literally handed to me. The kills were literally delivered straight to my door, wrapped in like the gift bags. So even if you play safe and don't die, you still have a problem. If you waste your cooldown early, for example, if you're playing Ana versus Roadhog, and finally when the Roadhog makes a mistake, if you don't have your nade or sleep darts ready, he might just get away with it. Problem number 3, mental capacity. This is the essence of this concept. When you are spamming buttons, your brain is at 100% usage at all time, just trying to aim and just trying to play the game. But when you take the chill pill, You get more mental capacity, kind of like having a more brain bandwidth. You stop taking random fights, shooting whoever's in front of you, and suddenly you can see the game. Oh, my Ana is very far back. Actually, this fight, we have a severe ultimate disadvantage. Well, I don't have any bubble, I should probably back away. Chill pill isn't just about saving skills. It is buying yourself the time to gather information and process the information so you can make the right decision instead of just making a random plays again and again. So the downtime or the chill time is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's a crucial part of playing the game. Some of my newer students who's coming to me say they heard from other coaches that uptime is important. They tell you to always do damage, always be shooting, always be active. So you go into your ranked game and try to force those high uptime plays. And that's exactly what I was doing here. I felt like I had to do something. I had to be the guy pumping out big damage and carrying my entire team. So I traded my precious cooldown for trash damage and stood in horrible positions just to feel active. But the truth is, real high uptime is one of the last puzzle pieces, not the first one. When you first learn martial arts, you don't start with 560 spin kicks. You start with boring and mundane stuff. Stance, foot, like wax on, wax off basics. Uptime exists on top of high-level fundamentals. You need to be able to stay active without feeding. Exactly knowing where the enemy team is and what cooldowns they have, and knowing where your supports are, managing your distance, using cover, spam angles, and dodging mechanics, timing your trade precisely using the tank's aggro, and yes, even tracking ultimates. Without these, uptime is just a fancy word for dying faster. Let me give you a real story about this. I had a Tracer student who was hard stuck in GM5 for years. He also thought he needed to fix his uptime when he was bleeding his resources every fight trying to be active. But once we fixed this issue with the chill pill concept, teaching him how to stack his resources, respecting the distance more, and actually start gathering information, he went all the way to rank 10, top 10 on NA server as DPS. And he told me later, I realized uptime isn't the starting point. Uptime is the reward for good basics. It's the last card you play, not the first one. So this is a common uptime myth that my students have. Don't get me wrong, uptime is really important, especially in the pro level, but uptime and pushing your limits are concepts that I teach to students around Grandmaster and above. But if you're below that level and you try to force the plays with bad awareness and your shaky mechanic, it's a recipe for disaster. So unless you're pro level or around champion tier, I would highly advise you to just gather more information and make the right decision rather than seeing no information and making random decision. Now, let's take a look at how pro players are using chill pill. This is Proper's Tracer, and as you can see, going into the fight, he almost always has 3 blinks and recall available. He's stacking resources before the fight. And look at this moment against Ramatra. On average Masters or even most Grandmasters players would blink immediately to the cover. But Proper just goes back to the cover knowing he has a Lucio heal behind him. He uses natural cover and stacks his blinks. And now, as soon as he sees the tiny moment that Ramatra is not looking at him, he just walks to the next cover when again, most GM players would just use their bling to just get there. Now, he took the space and he's already in a perfect position. And he has 3 blinks stacked up. This man is a con artist. Here, instead of going all the way into Kiriko, he just goes for a quick jab. Then he waits for the perfect moment, gathering information, waiting for his team to actually walk in. And finally, when his tank is engaging towards the point, he sees that enemy Lucio's movement is very predictable in the Ramatra tornado. So he goes for a disgusting, clean kill. It's crazy how he's maintaining almost full resources, 3 blinks and full HP and a recall in the middle of the fight. I guarantee most GM players would just go all in on Kiriko much earlier, blowing all their resources, quickly getting cleared out while doing 2v1 against Lucio Kiriko. Okay, back to my example, the reformed WizardHyeong. As you can see, I'm maintaining high HP and generally above 60% of matrix. And I'm also looking back at my team to update the information. I'm not literally AFK doing nothing. I'm constantly making few enemies look at me using matrix and cover. Even when I engage, I don't go all the way in, because I don't see a big green light yet, going in and out very quick. And as you can see, the enemy Juno is critical, and I finally have my resources to punish her. And of course, I was still making ton of mistakes because I'm still going through the gaming rehab phase. But I was able to capitalize much more on the enemy mistakes, and more importantly, I had more clarity on why I'm going in or why I'm taking the fight instead of just autopiloting. So in summary, manage and stack your resources. Wait for your opportunity. There's many resource donators in ranked game, just like myself 2 weeks ago. And finally, use the downtime to think and gather information. If you thought, wow, WizardHyeong looks really bad in these clips, well, yes, that is very true, so you can probably do it. Thank you and see you next time.